Um, pull everybody over to like a kind of a private place that not out in the middle.
Okay.
Okay, so from what I remember, the Grand Dame is kind of an upscale kind of a place. Do we want to head over there and see what's up?
I could swim around the outside and see if there's anything unique underneath the boat.
I know you're good at disguising yourself. Do you want to, look like a noble-ish type person?
Barry, I know that you weren't there, and Erlenia and Melton may not remember, but when you guys had left seeing Lady Desalia, she gave you guys each a set of sex and height-appropriate noble clothing outfit for each of you. If you had needed it, she had passed that along.
Well, I must have been asleep.
I think you were sound asleep, dude.
Okay, do we want to head over there and investigate, see what we can find?
Sure.
Okay. So you guys head down to the docks themselves. See a large boat that's sort of docked up along the dock itself. At the around the area, you see a lot of workers kind of coming back and forth along the dock. They seem to be carrying in food and drink as well. There's casks and whatnot that they're dragging on. Definitely looks as if they're restocking up the boat again for this year. You do see a guard that seems to be kind of checking things as people are walking in and out and marking things off a list, standing at the front of the dock itself before things move down to the dock, and you see people moving back and forth and whatnot. The boat itself is, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, about 60 feet long, looks to be about 20 feet wide or so. You do see that it has several levels on it as well, and appears to have very nice ornate railings, and is really quite a beautiful boat.
Steak, were you gonna check out the water, see if they can find anything?
Yeah, I'll see if I can find any clues underneath the boat.
Okay.
So is there a place where we can just kind of sit and watch who comes and goes while he investigates around the boat?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's lots of other boats and docks and things like that. The dock area is pretty busy. This dock is sort of immediately outside the city gate. It's actually right there, and the boat is right next to it. Be that boat right there on that map if you're looking at it. There's definitely, you can see there's buildings here. Yep, it's that one. Buildings, you see other boats that are here. There's general sort of sales and things. There is a small, looks like a kind of a rough tavern that's sort of on the opposite side of the road, which is right there, that you could also go to if you wanted to kind of see. But you definitely could kind of mingle about and see if you were able to just kind of observe things and see how things are going.
I should know this water pretty good because I was out here swimming around.
Yep,
so.
You do, and you recognize this boat now that you've heard of, and come out and seen the boat itself. You've seen it pretty much every day. You see that this is pretty daily traffic here, Stig. This seems to be a daily occurrence where people are kind of walking and taking things into this boat. You see the rest of the boats kind of have come and gone, and you have recognized over the last week that this is a boat that's docked here every week. It's pretty ornate and whatnot.
I'm gonna act like I normally do when I go fishing, but when I go under the water, I can hold my breath for 15 minutes, and I'll cruise around the boat kind of stealthily.
Sounds good. So as you dive in and kind of swim around underneath the boat and whatnot, you do see that the boat has a pretty deep lie in the water. I can't remember what that's called, but anyways, thank you. I thought it was keel, but it's pretty deep, probably about 8 or 10 feet down. The boat you recognize, looking at other boats that are here, they seem to have a little bit more of a flat bottom. This boat definitely has a rounded bottom that seems more for seaworthiness than it does really for river travel itself. The other thing is that you notice that the bottom of the boat does have peculiar sort of like barnacles, but shells and things that are stuck to the side of it that you don't recognize from the river itself here.
Can I peel one of them off with my dagger?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll peel one off and save it.
Alrighty, gotcha. So you kind of chip one off a little bit, pretty quiet. It comes off pretty easily too, and kind of tuck it into your little bag that you're carrying, I guess, or in your hand. Otherwise, though, you don't see any sort of trap doors at all. You don't see anything that looks like it's had any damage or rammed into anything or run aground or anything else peculiar under the water.
Okay, I'll come back up and pretend like I struck out fishing and mosey on back to Relenia and show her the barnacle.
All right, yeah, it sounds good. Can you give me a deception check?
I can. It's not gonna be good.
That's all right. For the rest of you guys, while he's underneath the water, anything that you guys would be doing?
What can we be doing that makes us look nonchalant?
Watching for certain things or whatnot. I suppose probably there's really not anything else. I just want to make sure that I wasn't missing something that you guys wanted to do. Kind of watching, you see exactly what I talked about. You see the general travel of people carrying in casks. It seemed to be about 8 people that continue to do it. They kind of are just sort of circling back and forth, getting things off of the land itself. There's some boxes and things that they're taking in. You don't see anything really out of the ordinary necessarily. However, the person standing there taking all the information definitely seems to be either the main guard or the captain of the boat or the strong arm there or something, but he's definitely the guy that is kind of organizing to make sure everything is being done. The other thing about the boat too is you notice that the boat is run by oarmen. It's an oar boat, and you see multiple oars that are kind of strapped up along the side, both sides of the boat. It doesn't have a sail or anything like that. Stig, so as you get out of the water, one of the fishermen goes, nothing today, huh? That's unusual.
Yeah, I struck out. A different current, and temperatures, the weather coming in, all that contributes.
Well, every fisherman has his days.
Yeah, mine wasn't today, but tomorrow I'll be snagging them left and right, I hope.
Good. Don't be catching too many. The fishermen may get a little upset if you keep stealing all the fish.
Thanks. Good,
yeah.
Good tip.
Yeah. And you're able to continue on. He continues doing his kind of fishing.
I'll make my way back and show it to Relenia and tell the group that I didn't see anything peculiar other than these barnacles on the bottom.
Alright, I'll kind of look over it and see if I can recognize any.
Yeah, so kind of as you look at it, it definitely doesn't appear to be something that you would see in a freshwater region. Probably more of a saltwater-ish type of creature or shell created this.
Didn't the Water Baron say that this boat just came in like recently when the giants started attacking?
She did.
And that... Didn't she say something about the boat was... Sorry, looking at my notes.
No problem.
I don't remember. Never mind. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I just remember it. They said something about it. It used to travel up and down the river. So maybe it came.
That's correct. She did say that it traveled up and down the river. She thought maybe it came from as far down south.
Interesting. So what are we going to do with this?
I don't know. I was thinking maybe we could just check it out, but we could go on board and investigate, I guess.
Well, I could also turn into a rat and stow away in one of those boxes. And
You broke up, but you want to get on the boat, see if you can hear anything.
kind of do some investigation and stuff from inside.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. Yeah, that sounds great. So you're going to go ahead and become a rat?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and wild shape into a rat.
All right, so you're able to... you kind of scurry over towards the box, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yep. So you're able to scurry over without any difficulty. Being so small, you now have a quite a different perspective of the land, the lay of the land, and whatnot. As you kind of scurry over, you see there's several other rats that are kind of running around between the buildings and whatnot, and they kind of stare at you in dismay as you're kind of dodging through and moving pretty deftly. I assume you climb into like a box or something like that?
Yeah, I'll hop in a box.
Alrighty. As you jump into the box, you see three other rats kind of quickly scurry and jump into the box with you, and so there's you and three other rats hanging out in this box.
I'm a ROUS, a rodent of unusual size.
So about 15 minutes or so go by, and then you suddenly feel the box kind of jerk up, and you kind of get jostled around, and the three other little rats inside squeak just a little bit as you guys are moving back and forth, and you notice one kind of falls out of the slats. You guys watching this occur see the box picked up by a very large, almost half ogre kind of guy that picks it up and throws it on his shoulder. As that happens, you see a small rat fall out of the back of the box and sort of lands on the ground and scurries back to one of the buildings, and you kind of hear him walking down the steps there, Relenia, and he gets down to where this where you assume the guy is, so you're kind of peeking through the slats, and you see a human that's there, and he's kind of very gruff looking, and sort of has a large piece of paper there that's marking off things, and you see most of it's food and whatnot, and he kind of looks over and he says, good, I'm glad you got that. We got 2 more boxes. All right, get that back on the boat, and then we got to get things ready to go. Make sure you talk to Pao Ming, let him know, okay? And you kind of hear the half-ogre kind of grunt, and he sort of walks you onto this boat.
All right.
As he does, you notice that he kind of walks through, and as you enter onto the boat, sort of the backside of the boat, he kind of walks you around to the stern and into the middle center of the room there. He kind of opens up the door, and as it opens up, you see what appears to be a large cabin that appears to be almost like a gambling hall. In the centerpiece, you see what appears to be a gold-plated wooden sculpture of a goose resting on a table, and you see that there's what appears to be very nice tables, and there's a large kind of huge portrait of kind of a fat, sort of foppish little grinning guy that hangs on the wall right next to a spiral staircase that leads upstairs. You see that there's multiple card table games here, as well as it's card table games, and there's all kinds of wooden chips that are stacked very neatly all along the top of them, and you see these chips have sort of a golden emblem on the top of them. He kind of walks you to what you assume is maybe midship area, and he opens up a door, and there's a large kitchen there, and he sort of throws the box down on one of the shelves that's there. There's nobody inside the kitchen right now, and he leaves and slowly shuts the door.
All right, I'll kind of hop out of the box. What's actually in the box?
So in the box is a lot of lettuce and sort of produce is kind of mixed into the box as well. It looks to be mainly food.
Okay, so now it's got E. coli. Okay.
Now it does.
All right, so I'll go ahead and hop out and then just kind of scurry around the kitchen and just kind of get a general lay, make sure everything looks like I think a kitchen would look like.
Sure.
And then I'll also keep an ear out for anybody talking to or asking after Pao Ming.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, you kind of go around the kitchen. There's a large stove that's here. There's lots of tables and for slicing up food and whatnot. There's a large shelf, and you notice that there's lots of food there. They've got what looks like various animals that are kind of either dried or relatively fresh, sort of hanging on hooks there, waiting to be prepared. There's nobody in the kitchen itself. The kitchen is empty at this point. You do hear kind of hustle and bustle, and as you're kind of searching around, you see another person kind of bring in this box and sets it down, and then slowly closes the door again. There are two doors. There's a door on the west and there's a door on the south. Both those doors are closed. However, that being said, it would be very easy to scurry underneath the door if you needed to.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask, if I had to wait for it to be opened.
Nope.
Okay, so did he go back out the door that I originally came in, or is this the other door?
So he went out the door that you originally came in. That was the west door.
Okay, so I will go towards the other door.
Okay. So you're kind of at that southern door there. You do hear some general chatter of voices on the other side of the door. They sound to be fairly distant, far away, but you hear it nonetheless.
Now they're not singing like Jingle Bears, Jingle
No.
Bears, or anything like that. Okay.
No, nothing like that.
All right, I'll go ahead and kind of peek under the door and make sure there's not like a guard sitting there staring at the door.
Sure. So as you peek out, you see that you again see this casino-like room that you had seen when you were coming through looking at the slats. You now see there's two people in there. They're at one of the far tables, about 10 feet away or so, and they seem to be stacking chips. One of them is a very well-dressed gentleman. He appears to be in noble clothes. However, he's the one who's stacking them and seems to be kind of the worker itself. And then you see another person there who is dressed very strangely. You've never seen anybody dressed like this before, and it's a very interesting look. So he is human appearing. He has sort of these eyebrows that are very dark, and they're kind of pointed upwards a little bit, kind of maybe not trimmed, but are manicured on the outside of the eyes where they don't really cover it. His hair is very long, but it's up in a kind of a bun, and he has two little sticks that go through that bun itself. He wears a yellow robe sort of coat thing, and it has two snakes, one on one shoulder, one on the other, that kind of, they're embroidered on it. It's not real snakes. They kind of go into it, and it's a long, almost like a Komodo type of, if that's what they're called, coat.
Okay, so that's not Ming the Merciless. That's who I was looking for.
Maybe. You're not sure who Ming is, but definitely. I'm sorry, it's a female, not a male. Sorry, female.
Oh, that's a female? Okay.
Yep, that's a female. I know, it's hard to tell, right?
Okay, so she's sitting there watching the other person count or stack chips.
That's exactly what she's doing.
So I'm going to try to see if I can get like under the table that they're at. Obviously finding the best spot that I can hide so as to not be stepped on, or just seeing if someone walks up or walks away.
Yeah, sounds good. Why don't you give me a stealth roll for me? The rest of the group, you guys saw the one little rat fall out of the box. You've seen they're continuing to move things. There's pretty much one thing left. It looks like a barrel that's about to be picked up, and there's nothing else that's really there. And you continue just to kind of watch outside, I assume, for the rest of the group.
Of course, just checking out what's going on, see if we can notice anybody that we
going in and out, I guess.
Yeah, at this point, it just seems to be the workers. It's still late afternoon type of time. You do see on occasion now there are what looks like probably the kitchen staff, the butlers, the people that clean things. All those people are now kind of coming in from the city and now coming down to the dock. As each one of them comes down, the person that has the piece of paper kind of flips the piece of paper over and is writing down something as each person comes onto the boat.
Oh yeah, so that's the other question I was going to ask. So this casino room is basically empty right now, except for these two people.
That's correct.
They're like setting up or whatever.
Exactly. That's exactly what it looks like.
About what?
Whoops, I missed that. About what?
I don't know if you heard that last thing.
I did.
What time is it?
Yeah, so it's late afternoon is the time here. The sun is, it's, you probably got a couple more hours before sunset.
Okay.
So this boat will take passengers and go out, or can you just go on it and it stays at the dock and you gamble up there?
That's a great question. So no, every night, and you guys have been here for a couple weeks, so you've been able to see this. So every night at dusk, what'll happen is the boat loads up with people that appear to be very influential, noble people with a significant amount of money, and they cruise the river. And of course, Melton likes to stay out late at night, and Melton has recognized that usually about in the middle of the night, probably 1-2 o'clock in the morning, the boat returns and these noble people get off the boat, and this is a nightly occurrence. This happens every night, and they seem to cruise north up the river, and then they always come south and they go underneath the big bridge.
So what is our plan here? To try to get a meeting with Lord Dryland and see if he knows anything about what's going on with these missing children?
We could.
I think we got to get on board. I think this is a gambling boat.
Yeah, and Lady Dazalia, that was the reason she had given us the clothes, because she was the one who had told us we needed nice clothes to be able to get on there, on the boat.
Don't we also have a wooden coin with a goose on it from somewhere?
Yeah,
You do.
I think, didn't we get that from Wormwood or Wamford?
Yep, you did. I think it was actually in the room where the people were missing, right?
Yeah, the barge right in.
Yep.
Is there somewhere close by we can?
I don't know if they have any telephone booths, but I think there probably is a building that you guys could slip into and change into if you'd like.
You beat to it, Greg.
No sending stone booths?
No sending zone booths. That would have even been better. I wish I would have thought of that.
I'll use my minor illusion and make up.
That's awesome. Poof.
That's only 5 foot tall.
You see,
It's fine for Melt and I.
yeah, you see him squinching down. How much lizard folk can fit in that? So you guys
Have his head sticking out.
So you guys are going to change into noble clothes at this point then, while
Absolutely.
Relenia is in there? Okay, gotcha. So you guys are finding an area where you can kind of change into some nicer clothing. And Relenia, you are able to sneak up a little bit closer, and you hear him counting, and he says, you hear him say, "Sir, that's 500, or ma'am, that's 5,000 platinum worth of coin of gambling chips." And Maoping says, "Ah, good. Okay, make sure all the other tables are good, and when you're done, report back to me." And the person that's working there, that's dressed very nicely, says, "Of course, Pao, I will, absolutely." You see her slowly kind of walk through the tables, and you notice she kind of picks up a chip and lines it up. It was just a little off the stack and makes it nice and neat, and she just kind of shakes her head a little bit, and then she kind of keeps moving from table to table.
All right. Does she look like she's just gonna inspect the rest of the tables, or does she look like she's head somewhere?
No, it looks like she's just generally, and your impression is trying to get the boat ready. She's checking the tables to make sure they're all set. And you see that once that's all done, she exits out the back door of the boat itself. Looking through here, since you've been in here, you see there's really only one exit from this room, and that's out the back. There's also a set of stairs that go up higher. So that would be the second exit, essentially. But for the most part, there's no other doors. There's many windows all along the edges, so it's very well lit in here. And the floor is covered in almost like a rug, but it's a continuous rug from wall to wall, which is pretty unusual.
All right, I'm gonna try to follow her and be extra special careful, because I think if she sees me, I'm a goner.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Yeah, her OCD would take me right off the boat.
Yeah, it would. So as you follow her through the door there, or out the door, you see she starts to go down these steps, which are immediately next to the door area that seem to go down into the lower part of the boat. And as you kind of go down there, you see that she's kind of inspecting the benches here. This is where most of the looks like the workers that would row the boat essentially are at, and she's just kind of going around checking things, making sure that things are ready to go. You also see that there are looks like flasks or tankards there that are neat next to each spot on the seats, and she picks one up and she takes it over to this large cask that's sitting on the edge, and slowly fills it up with liquid. She kind of puts it up her nose and takes a smell, and then puts the tankard back down. The remaining tankards appear to be filled with some sort of liquid.
All right, I want to just kind of get a little whiff of that, just so I know if it's something I recognize, water or something else.
Yeah, definitely not water. It doesn't smell like a liquor or a beer or an ale or a mead or anything like that, but it has a very almost sweet / pungent smell to it. It's not anything you've smelled before.
And I haven't seen any like workers or anything or people yet, have I?
No, you haven't. It's just her and that one gentleman that you saw upstairs arranging chips.
Okay.
So as the rest of the group is getting changed, you now see that there's a long line that's sort of kind of extending around here, and you see lots and lots of commoners. You see some musicians now that are walking up. One of them has a flute, and another one has a lute, as well as other one doesn't have anything with them at all. You do see people that are dressed kind of all the same. They look to be in kind of noble dress, however, definitely appear to be commoners that are in that sort of dress. You also see people that appear to be maybe chefs or whatnot, and they're all kind of getting checked in by this person in the front. You now start to see that there's several well-dressed guests that are also kind of intermingling in with the workers as they're kind of walking up to the thing, and each person kind of gets let in. As you see, one of the well-dressed guests makes it up to the gentleman that's there. He sort of nods and smiles and kind of grins and whatnot, and kind of looks down the list and checks off a mark, and then it lets them to continue in.
Does it look like he's checking their names off of the list or something?
It appears that every person that comes in, he's making a check mark on his sheet. You're not sure if he's checking their name off or if he's just making marks, but you do see from time to time that he pages through several pages, and then we'll check on a different page, and then we'll go back to other pages and make a check mark.
Milton, are you dressed as a halfling this time?
Sure, I'm dressed as a halfling. We need to figure out what kind of papers they're looking for. I can always write us up some papers.
Maybe if we send one of us up there and have them show us the papers, like pretend like we forgot them and they got mixed in with other papers. I don't know.
So
Let's do that. Let's get in line. We want to make sure that we get on the boat. So I don't know. I imagine that there is a limit to the number of people that get on.
I'll take care of that. Don't worry. I'll take care of that. I'll go up there and I'll ask about the papers. That way I can see what kind of papers or anything that we might need, and I can make it.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
So Melton, as you start to kind of work your way over there, you notice something peculiar about them versus your group.
And what's that?
None of them have armor or weapons.
Ah.
So you get in line. Relenia, you're downstairs. You see that Pao Ming seems to be pretty much done with all the stuff downstairs. Then she goes to the bow of the boat, and there's two sets of stairs that also go up on that side. You see her kind of go up the steps. You continue to follow her. You're kind of on the main deck of the boat. She continues to kind of walk around towards the side of the boat that's near the docking area, sees the people that are coming in, and she immediately goes and stands at the entrance and sort of stands there greeting people as they're coming in. If it's a worker, she has them going to where they need to go. If it's somebody that's a guest, she's...
Okay, so the workers weren't already on the boat. They're coming from shore also.
That's correct. And you see now that the workers, mostly it was workers in the beginning, but now that you're up towards the top, you see that there's guests that are intermingled with workers that are coming on the boat. The workers seem to be going to their place. The guests are sort of milling about the edges of the boat. And you see workers bringing out drinks to them, and they're kind of sitting on the edge, kind of waving at people. It almost seems like it's a prestigious thing to be on the boat first, so that way, you're there and you're probably are more powerful or more important than the other people that didn't get there quite so early.
Do I notice anybody heading downstairs to be a rower?
You do see people on occasion heading down to be rowers. They're dressed very nicely. However, you notice that their shirt and their tunics are very loose compared to the other ones, where it seems like they would be able to have a lot of arm movement versus the others that feel maybe a little more crumped or not able to do that.
All right. I just want to keep it. Sorry, I just want to keep a quick eye on any of the rowers and see if, like, they sit down and immediately go for the liquid, or
Gotcha.
or what the deal is with that.
Yeah, so you go down and you see they're kind of milling about in the middle of the boat, kind of talking to each other. You hear them kind of discussing just general chatter that you would expect from people that know each other or work together. There's no real discussion about anything nefarious at all. None of them seem to be touching the mugs, but then again, none of them are really sitting down either at this point.
Right. Okay.
Melton, you were going to say something?
Yeah. I was going to head up there and see the door.
Alrighty, so as you walk up, you can hear several in front of him. He'll kind of look and see, and if it's a worker, he immediately will address them by their first name and go down the list, and he'll be like, "Yep, you're tonight. I need you in the kitchen," or "Yep, you're definitely on table number 3," and will give sort of instruction as they show up. You do see that there's one person that showed up, and he kind of looks down to them. They're dressed as if a worker, and he says, "How many times have I told you you're not allowed on this boat?" And the guy's like, but, he's like, "Come on, you're not allowed, get out." And he kind of pushes him out of line, and he kind of dejectedly walks up the thing, and you kind of hear under his voice saying, "Someday I'm going to get on that damn boat," and he keeps walking away. As the guests are checking in, you do see that he actually is checking a list for a name and going down and looking to see. However, you did think that there was a guest maybe earlier that he had kind of gone down the list and paged through, didn't see anything, and him and the guest had sort of shook hands, and that guest was able to get on the boat.
Okay.
It comes up to the point where it's time for you. Now, I assume you have all your stuff on you, correct?
I do. I got my stuff on me.
All right, gotcha. So you kind of walk up, and you immediately see the guy kind of standing in front of you, and he looks down and he says, "Good evening. Name?"
My name is Belton Meagles.
Belton Meagles, and he kind of goes through the list. Belton Meagles. I don't see your name on the list. And he kind of looks up now, because before he was just kind of going down the list and checking names. And he says, yeah, I don't see your name on this list. Sorry, if your name's not on the list, unfortunately the boat's probably full. You're not allowed to come on.
You know something? I think you need to check again. And I use sleight hand, and I will try to slip a platinum piece into the palm of his hand, kind of unaware from the other folks being able to see it.
Okay, all right. Go ahead and give me a... Go ahead and roll, and go keep talking. That's fine.
Yep, and see if he...
So you kind of slide that platinum piece into his hand, and you initially notice that he has a kind of a little bit of a smile, and then you see, just as deftly as you slipped it in his hand, he flips his hand over and takes a look, and immediately when he looks at it, you see a big scowl come across his mouth, and he's like, "Unfortunately, sir, I don't see your name on this list."